Hello there my friends and welcome back to another episode of TA with MK. My name is MK and I'm very grateful that today is Friday, as it was kind of a long week. Those of you that have been following my channel, whether it's recently or for the last few months, you know that I was expecting a baby, obviously a few months ago, and then just about a week and a half ago we had our baby. Huge blessing, super happy. However, of course, we're not getting a lot of sleep, so I'm happy it's the weekend because I don't have to work tomorrow and I can maybe, relax a little bit. Still probably won't get much sleep, but at least it'll be more relaxing. But anyways, I digress. So in today's video, we're going to give you kind of a sneak peek to a coin that we're going to be talking about a lot in future videos on this channel. Those of you that are part of my Telegram group know we already talk about this coin, or we have talked about it quite a few times, especially because there's one specific member of the group that's a huge fan of this coin, along with myself. Now, that being said, for those of you that aren't my Telegram group, I would suggest using the link in the description. It's completely free. You can come in there and, join us in our conversations on some of the, coins that we're tracking. But this specific coin we're going to talk about in today's video, one that we're kind of a fan favorite of, at least in our group, is VRA, which is VERASITY. And in today's video, we're just going to briefly talk a little bit about what VERASITY is, what VAR is, what kind of project, obviously, that it is. Briefly look at its chart and talk about some of the recent news that has, some hype at least that's been surrounding VRA, and, kind of the reason that we as a group, or at least few of us within the group, are tracking this coin. Now, before we dive into the content, I wanted to quickly roll my promo vid to give you guys a reminder, or maybe for those of you that are hearing it for the first time, about the $100 BitGet giveaway that I'm doing this week on my channel. It ends on the 12th, which is Sunday here in the United States. Let me go ahead and roll that video for you. Alright guys, so here's the deal. As you know, or as you're finding out right now, I have partnered with the crypto exchange known as BitGet. And something we plan to do on the channel going forward is frequent giveaways. BitGet is being so kind to start out with a $100 giveaway. We're going to run it actually through the 12th, which is this Sunday, at least here in the United States. And all you have to do to qualify for this giveaway is just use my link in the description. Go ahead and create a BitGet account. It's as simple as that. I'm going to be choosing 10 winners on Sunday at the end of the week. They'll each get 10 USD put into their newly created BitGet account. Do keep in mind at this point my channel is pretty small, so the odds of you winning are actually very high. I realize it's only $10, but if you want to start using the BitGet exchange and following along with some of the videos that I'll be making, things like copy trading, spot trading, futures trading, this would be a good opportunity to get an account created and get a free $10 that you can start to use to follow me on these future videos. Again, all you have to do to qualify for this first giveaway is use the link in the description, create a BitGet account, and you'll be good to go. Good luck, and thank you, BitGet. Now, I also want to quickly mention that for those of you that have already used my link in the description to create a BitGet account, of course, you're qualified for the $100 giveaway, but also you're halfway qualified for the giveaway that we're going to do immediately to follow this one. I will, of course, have all those details finalized on Monday, but just kind of a sneak peek, the next giveaway we're going to be doing via BitGet is a $250 giveaway. We're going to pick 5 different users that upload $500 to their BitGet account. You don't necessarily have to trade with it, but you do need to upload it to your account and, use my link in the description, create an account. If you've already done that, you're halfway there. Upload $500 to that account, and we're going to pick 5 different winners to each get $50 applied to their account. So a total of $250, spread between 5 users. So I'll give you guys some more updates on that, obviously, at the beginning of next week, but that's something to look forward to. Besides that, let's go ahead and jump into VRA, and if that sounds interesting to you, please remember to like and subscribe, and let's go. It's TA with MK. It's TA with MK. So the first place that I want to start just briefly, and then we'll circle back to it in a few minutes, is the VRA TradingView chart. This is the daily chart here on KuCoin. And the reason I want to start here is I just want to point out that if you zoom in over here to the price action over about the last 24 hours, you can see that VRA is currently up around 40%. It was up as high as nearly 50%. And why would that be, you might ask? Well, as we hop over to their Twitter page, you'll be able to make a little more sense of that. So here we are on their official Twitter page for VERASITY Tech. And if you look down here on the post date, it says at 5:34 a.m. Now, at the time of making this video, it's actually, I'm Mountain Time, but it's 7:18 p.m. So we're talking about 14 hours ago. It shows here that on March 10th, 2023, that VERASITY listed that they will soon be listed on a Tier 1 crypto exchange. And then, of course, it lists that exchange, which is BYBIT. I know some of you that follow me probably use that exchange. I don't personally use it, but it is one of the largest exchanges there is. Probably not too far behind, like your Binances and stuff like that. But at any rate, that was a pretty big deal for Veracity. It shows the listing times are going to be March 12th. Is the deposit open. The listing time is actually March 13th at 10 a.m. Universal time, and withdrawal is open on March 14th at 10 a.m. UTC time. So that is a pretty big deal for VRA, especially mid or long term. Now, I was talking with one of the guys in my group, the one that actually told me about this news, and I mentioned to him, I said, hey, the state of the markets obviously would suggest that this is the greatest, time to necessarily be excited about this. But if you're a believer in VRA, which clearly he is, this is great news, especially for long term. Because anytime you can get a coin like this, which was a relatively small cap not long ago, listed on some of these major exchanges, that's obviously going to be good for the coin long term. And while we're here on the TradingView homepage, if you go down here where it says search markets, we can type VRA, which is the ticker for Veracity. And if you type in USDT, you can see all the different exchanges that you can trade VRA using Tether, which is primarily what most people trade with. I know there are people that use USDC. You could also just take that T away and type in USDC and see what exchanges offer that trading pair. Since I'm sure most of you trade with Tether like I do, we'll go ahead and change that back to USDT. And you can see here that Veracity is listed on KuCoin, OKX, Bittrex, Polynex, Gate.io, BitGet, CoinEx, Mexi, Bitfinex, so you get the point. This coin was already gaining some traction as far as being listed on a lot of the exchanges, but you can see here one of the major ones missing is Binance. Well, you know what? Maybe that's next on the list. When you're some of these up and coming coins, small caps specifically, you kind of have to go through a process before you have, before you're seen by the majority of people that are following the crypto market. Of course, you get listed on some of the smaller things. Maybe you get a Uniswap listing or a PancakeSwap listing, something like that. Then maybe a Gate.io listing, and eventually KuCoin. And after that, something like BYBIT, which, obviously VRA just got listed on. So that's a big deal for them and for those of you that believe in this project going forward. Now we're over at their website, which is, I'll leave the link in the description. It's just veracity.io. And I'm not going to go over very much of this in today's video. Like I said, this was more of a sneak peek to just to mention the coin, just so you kind of put it on your radar to understand why it will be a coin that we'll be tracking or making videos about on the channel going forward. But I just wanted to briefly introduce you to their website, kind of explain what it says that the token actually is. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and click over here to the right of where it says Veracity. We're going to click on the word token. And I'm just going to read this to you really quick. It says all roads lead to VRA. It says VRA is a digital currency created exclusively for the exchange and transfer of value in the esports, variety gaming, NFTs, and video economy globally. VRA is currently held by over 300,000 VERA wallet users, and it is listed on more than 24 exchanges globally, as we just mentioned a few of. So anyway, it's a gaming coin obviously, but it does a whole lot more, which we'll cover on the channel going forward. It just has some very good fundamentals. I've been very clear up front on my channel throughout the the past year of me making videos that I'm not a fundamental guy. However, I do have some people that I associate with, especially in our Telegram group, that are a little bit more on the fundamental side of things. And specifically one guy in the group I'll give a shout out to. It's his name is Rigo, and he'll be the one helping me make some of these videos, as far as helping me put together some of the content at least. And he is a huge fan, and he's making me a huge fan of this coin, which is the reason we're going to talk about it more on the channel going forward. One last thing we can do before we hop over to the chart to finish the video out is we can click up here on the top right where it says roadmap, and you can kind of just see all of the things. This is, by the way, this is a really good idea anytime you're looking up fundamentals or tracking what a coin has coming up to see if it's worth possibly investing in, is their roadmap. So I'm clicking on the roadmap, and it shows right here for 2023, Q4, Q3, Q2. It's just got a bunch of stuff listed here that's upcoming for the coin. So it's good to see that clearly they've got some sponsorships coming up. They've got a bunch of development stuff coming up. They're working a ton on this VERA card and VERA wallet, which is something we will discuss at length in some of our future videos. But I just want to put on your radar that one of the main reasons we're tracking this coin is that it has a lot of news coming up. And those of you that follow my channel, I specifically focus more on TA, obviously, and trading, but if you follow me for a while, that I'm big on finding out, or trading coins that are loaded with news. So to wrap up today's video, we'll just give kind of a brief, analysis on the chart for VRA. Backtrack a little first. You can see that there was this large falling wedge. Let me go ahead and just delete this real quick, where, price action had been compressed inside of and rejected at, once, twice, 3 times, along this trend line. And then, of course, it was finding support on this lower trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 5 different occasions. Well, when that broke out, it was something that, at least in the Telegram group, we'd been talking about a little bit. I don't know that I made any YouTube videos about it, but you took the measured move of just this falling wedge, and if you drag that over to where the breakout happened, you can see that almost to the T, it hit that target. Now, it obviously took it some time. It broke out on the 11th of January, so kind of the beginning of this year, and then it didn't really hit that actual target until more like the 20th of January 2023. So it was about a week and a half later, so I mean, it wasn't really that long, but I mean, it wasn't an instant pump to that target, but clearly, once it broke that downtrend, it saw some tremendous upside. Now, in the group, we also were tracking this triangle, as it was basically forming a symmetrical triangle for the course of like a week and a half period, and then it broke out of that. We also had a measured move for that pattern, which brought price action, up to this area. You can kind of see that's where it first pumped, and then it even exceeded that and went a little bit higher. Well, if you fast forward to the current price action outside of just the pump that we've seen over the last 24 hours, which clearly is related to that BitGet listing, you can see a few things of interest. So for the time that it broke out of this wedge, to its recent high, it saw nearly a 300, well, a little over a 350% move, which, is a 3.5x. Obviously, that's nothing to cry about. That's pretty freaking amazing, right? Well, now that it's starting to pull back, you can see if we take from this lowest swing and we take our fib retracement tool to the top swing, you can see that it's bouncing kind of around the 618, which for those of you that are newer to this part of trading, this area between the 0.618 and the 0.65 represents what's referred to as the golden pocket. And it's just one of those areas that it's super common to see a stock after tremendous upside, retrace and retest. Now, it did obviously dipped a little bit below that, but if you look even closer and zoom in, you can see that this yellow moving average on my chart, which represents the 200 SMA or the 200 simple moving average, it almost retested it perfectly, as of yesterday. Now, it looks like people bought it up before it, so essentially people were front running the retest of the 200 SMA. You could look at that as potentially bullish, that it wasn't even able to reach the actual 200 before you see this big wick to the upside. Clearly buyers stepped in, and that brings us basically to where price action is now. So more or less in today's video, I just want to put this coin on your radar. It's not something that I personally have purchased just yet, and I will be putting out a video in the next couple of days with a little more in-depth TA as far as the areas that I'll personally be looking to accumulate or buy this coin. Now, if you're long term on this coin, and I don't necessarily mean like 20 years long term, I just mean next 2 years, honestly. Like my guy Rigo in my group, I think any area at where we're at now is clearly represents a good long-term area to invest in this coin. But if you're like me, more of a swing trader, what I'd be looking for is possibly, now that it's broken out of this little falling wedge right here, would be either a higher low or maybe even a retest of the same area that it broke out, which is kind of back down here near the 200 simple moving average we just talked about. So anywhere down around 50 cents, between 50, I know it's not 50 cents, 0.0050 anyway, and basically 53, 54. I think that would represent a good area, to buy potentially like a double bottom or a higher low. But if you're looking for a breakout type entry, for a short-term trade, I would say this area of resistance where it struggled back here, and right now that's where this most recent wick is hitting, which basically is right under 70 cents. We'll call it 68, 0.0068 that is. If you can see a break above that level, we'll just call it 70 like I said. Well, at that point, you could expect to move back up here to the 0.318, which is, around the 0.0080. And that would represent potentially something like a little, 10 to 15% move, which, isn't really too bad. So again, be looking for future videos on Veracity, ticker VRA. All right, that should wrap it up for this one. I hope you guys have a beautiful and glorious weekend. And as always, on your way out, please remember to like and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.
It's TA.